Hey guys, it's only been a day, not 8 months. That's an improvement, right? Yeah, let's see if we can keep this train going. Yeah, next video is like in an hour. No, I'm just kidding. Ooh, what's that there? Whatever. All right. So a little recap of what we did last video. We made the character move using a character controller and using either Unity's built-in axes, or, well, in my case, I use a thing called hard shell or complete control input. It's an input or input manager thingy. Doesn't really matter. All right, but today we're gonna make jumping, and since let's just call it jump or something. Since we made gravity its own FSM, it's a lot easier to sort of centralize where gravity is, and we're gonna affect the float variable within gravity. So go back to jump, and we need to set our start state with a get button, just like get button in the regular input, but with me it's a hard shell get button. Yours would be this one, and you would get jump. If you haven't created an input, it should be in, I think, edit, and then I think it's project settings, yeah, and then input, and then if you have a jump, yeah, there it is already. Or if you're using the hard shell complete control thingy, just make a new one, call it jump, set spacebar and whatever, and this returns a boolean. We call it is jumping. Let's just call it that. Leave it at every frame, and then well, it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't send an event same as say get button down would do, send an event and store a boolean. But if we do this, it's a lot more centralized and generalized, instead of just, oh, the button was pressed down, okay, I do the thing. So now we can more control it, since we have a variable which changes. And in order to send an event now, we would have to use like a bool test. This basically just returns two events. If it's true, send an event. If it's false, send an event. Let's keep it at every frame. Set it, the bool variable to it's jumping. And we're looking for if it's true, since we're pressing down a button and it returns yes, the button is pressed. Okay, so send an event. Is jumping. Let's just call it that. And just add, and then, or click the red thingy if it pops up. Whoops. Yield idle. There we go. Color it blue. Create a new state. And hook that up to the new state, which we will call jumping, because it is jumping. Let's, come on, there we go, color it green because it's jumping. Alright, and within the jumping we now hold on, yeah, we now do a set FSM float, float, there we go, and it's gravity, set variable gravity within gravity, and set it to whatever value you would like to jump in. Let's set it to 8. Do not set it to every frame, otherwise you would, well, you would move upwards every frame in 8 value. Yeah, so just keep it at without hooking the every frame thingy. If it is hooked, unhook it. So we can already test this out now. So let's see if it's not maximized. So let's hit play. Let's try it out. and boom, now you have jumping. And since gravity already subtracts from whatever value it's already at by its own value, you know, gravity's value, so it'll try to jump or move up in 8 units per second once, and then gravity starts applying. You won't be able to jump 8 units high though, because well, it's the character control is trying to move up while there's a force by 9.881 being pushed down on it, you know, gravity. So let's go back to jump, but we're not able to jump multiple times now, it just goes one. So we need to return from here over to here, and we do that by just having you know, finished. That would do, right? And then going back. The problem here is this is quite fast though. It's like, okay, go to jump when you press it, but if you keep holding down spacebar, it'll go back and then go into jump again, and then just start getting like stack overflows or whatever. So let's not use a finished state, because that just makes whatever, if this is finished doing whatever it is, then it continues. So we need to set a new state. And what else did I do? Alright, and then we need to just go back to the idle state, copy this, paste it in here, and instead of is true, we now use if it's false. New event, not jumping. And then click the red thing, or just add transition, not jumping. Then hook it back down here, or just over there. Now let's do this example first. So now we have, okay, you pressed it, it now sets gravity's value to something, character controller tries to jump, and then waits for you to release the button. So let's try and see what this does now then. Should be the exact same thing, but now we can jump indefinitely. Oh no, that's bad. How do we fix that? Easy. Connect it to a different state, and then call this state for wait for grounded. What's grounded? Well, it's a method of checking whether or not a thing is on the ground. One of the things people do is use raycasting for this, but with raycasting it's only from one position downwards instead of the actual character controller. So this should just be a hold on, just a bool test. That's what this is. That's the only thing this thing does, is look for a bool, or then check for is grounded, and then if it's true, then we go to is grounded every frame, and this should then go back to idle. Let's color it purple because, well, it's waiting for something, so let's just use purple for that color, or for that state. But it still won't really do anything because we haven't set up the logic for this boolean, and we do that by using a different FSM, and let's just call it ground test or something, because it's testing whether or not something is grounded. We have a start state, call it blue, or set it to blue, which should be we could call it falling or idle, but we're gonna call it falling rather. Falling, because we have two states. It's on the ground or it's falling. On ground or falling. So how do we test whether or not something is grounded? Again, you could raycast. Raycast. This only raycasts from one position. You could add multiple raycasts and check whether or not every raycast is hit or something, but raycasting is kind of kind of expensive, so we're gonna try and use the already built-in things that Unity has for checking whether or not something is collided with or grounded. What you would think you would then do is just use like a collision event. Hey, am I collided with or something? But then it only whenever the entire player is hit, it says, oh, I'm grounded, now we can jump. We don't want that. We want to go to character. No, that's not it. Where is it? Where is the thingy? It's on here. There it is. Folder and it's called controller collision flags. Because this one sets a flag. Hey, I'm hit from wherever. Below is grounded. None sides above. And we're gonna use below because then we at least know that, okay, it touched something. So now you can jump again from, well, it's standing on something. And it's a boolean, so is grounded, or no, let's just call it hit below. There we go. And then we do a bool test whether or not it's hit from below. There. If it's true, then it's grounded, is grounded. So every frame, copy both of them and copy and paste them into the new one, the other one, on ground. And here you do it the same thing, but on is false, then not grounded. And these you can interchange because that's basically what they do. They just go back and forth between, hey, I'm grounded, hey, I'm not grounded, or something. Yeah. Let's test it out to see if this simple mechanic works, to test whether or not it's grounded or not. It already sees, hey, I'm falling, hey, I'm on the ground. Moving up here, jumping off, hey, I'm falling, I'm on the ground. Whee! It's working. It's working as intended. That's good. So we could use these two states now to flip between whether or not it's grounded within the jumping thingy, because we're already testing, hey, am I grounded? But we set whether or not it's grounded within here. And we do that by set FSM bool. You have to do that by in both of them. So here it's go to jump. It's grounded. Hey, I'm on the ground. Therefore, it's now enabled, or true, rather. Can't remember if I said it every frame. Let's not. Let's just do this and copy it. And here, hey, I'm not grounded. Therefore, I'm false instead of true. So now if we go to jump and see whether or not it, once we have jumped, that goes down to grounded. Jumping, grounded, and now it goes back to idle. Jumping, can't jump, goes back to idle. There we go. Fixed. Of course, we could add another like logic to it, so it wouldn't like continuously jump if you just let go of it. And well, actually, that doesn't really matter. It's waiting for whether or not the button is released, and then we go boom back to it's grounded, and then it goes back to idle. It's that simple. It's as simple as that, folks. So you could then also touch on the I'm falling off of something and not moving. Okay, wait, let's just set it to maximum on play and just walk off of something, like we did in the last video. Whee! Jumping. If we walk off this, we fall kind of quickly, although it's hassleless and it doesn't really impact anything, but it's not like pushing something off and it just goes like slowly down. It's super fast, goes straight down immediately. It's not really a problem, but we could fix it. We could touch on it. We can make better. And we do that within here. We call this state falling. It's the same thing as here, but it's different, because if we do the whole thing within here, problems, trust me. So we just use this boolean test thingy, go back here, test every frame and whether or not it's true, and we go to not grounded. Not getting an error because that thing isn't there. Okay, add not grounded and put that down to falling. We could color falling purple or whatever, because it's waiting for whether or not it's grounded again. So copy the grounded thingy, put it there, and then set, you put in is, no, not jumping, is grounded. There it is. And that goes back to idle. Like so. And within here, we do the same thing as jumping. We set the float of gravity to 0. Why 0? And let's also not use 8. Let's use 5. 5. Yeah, let's use 5. That sounds like a better deal. Why 0? Well, you'll see. You'll see very soon. So now, when we go back to this place and fall off, it now kind of acts as you would expect. And now we also jump a bit more realistically. We don't jump super high. We jump about 1.5 units tall. If we fall off again, as you can see, we're rounded, so it's still grounded. The bottom of our capsule is rounded, so we could kind of walk on the edge of ourselves. But as we fall off, we don't just sort of immediately fall downwards. It sort of goes to 0 and then accelerates down, like you would expect. We could make it even better by setting this value to something like -4, because remember, it's going downwards. So if we set it to -4, it's not like an instant like stop downwards and then it falls. If it's set to 4, it's a bit more accelerated downwards, but not as much as you would expect. Ooh. Let's fall off. As you can see, it's a little bit better. Could keep it at 0, or keep it without this logic. You don't really need it, but now you have a different state for whether or not you're falling just randomly, and it doesn't like set back to 0 as well you probably would want it. If we now fall off something, it's not just like whoa, falling down like super heavy thing. As you can see, you sort of move down with the controller on the edge, and then you fall off where it kind of goes like 0 and then accelerates downwards. It's just a little thingy that Unity does when you use these annoying character controllers. Don't worry about it. But again, you don't really need this. You could disable it, you could remove it. Like so. now it doesn't really check for whether or not it's grounded or if you're falling just without jumping. But then you fall off kind of quickly. Whee! But it's a personal preference whether or not you want it enabled or not. I'm gonna keep it enabled, and I'm gonna also name these things a bit better. Grounded. Grounded. There we go. Instead of, I like to keep it at like -5. Yeah. Now we have jumping, we have movement, we have gravity, the basics of, and we also have a logic for whether or not it's grounded or not. See, feels a little bit better. Doesn't really matter. It's fine. It's fine as it is. It's fine. It's fine, just fine. Fine, just fine. Yeah. Gravity. Grounded, whether or not you're grounded. A test with that. Jumping. And mouse look. I renamed it to mouse look. Called it look the last time. And movement. That's it. That's all there is to it, really. Now you have a very basic character controller. I think next video I should do crouching, because that's a bit different. But we have jumping, it works as intended. Yeah. So, if there's any questions, leave them in the comment section, and I'll see you on the next one.